Hello Mama! Welcome to the Postpartum Series of Yoga Life with Amber. I'm Amber. My baby is now 6 months old and I am really loving sharing this experience with you guys. So thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for following along. Today we're going to work on a neutral pelvis, and that nerdy little piece of advice that I'm going to give you today is going to give you so much freedom in your low back specifically. So let's get started. If you're a mama and you have low back pain, I do, and it doesn't matter if your baby's tiny and you're breastfeeding or if your baby is grown. Women do struggle with low back pain, and a lot of that is from childbirth, the way we move our pelvis or sit. So let's get started in a seated position. I would like for you to come onto the ground if possible, because it's hard, it's nice and sturdy. If you're on something soft, this may not work as well. So let's sit on the ground together. And I would like for you to move your flesh away so that you can feel your sit bones. There's 2 of them. Boom, boom. So see if you can find those sit bones. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Found them. And we're going to pretend that your pelvis is a bowl of water. So imagine that bowl of water in your pelvis, and what we don't want to do, we don't want to spill it out the back, so that would look like this. So do that with me. Spill it out the back first, and then sit up back to center, and now try to spill it out the front, which is a little bit harder. If we had like a pillow or something under our butt, it'd be easy. But now try to spill it out the front. So really try to stick your tailbone out and try to spill it. Yeah, see how that feels? And rib thrust a little bit. So our ribs are going to poke out when we spill the water out the front. And then bring it back to center. And now from those 2 extremes, tilting the ball back and spilling the water out, tilting it forward and spilling it out, let's find that neutral pelvis where the bowl of water is still. No ripples, no spilling, stillness. Geeky, but I promise you after this practice you're going to be like, I hope so at least. In my training I was mind blown. So sit tall. The 2 basic things we're going to work on today is pinning the ribs in, but still finding a slight curve in the low back. Beautiful C curve. So we don't want to flatten it out and spill that water back. So let's just start with our eyes closed and just notice, how is your pelvis sitting right now? How is your bowl? That's more heart language. How is your bowl of water sitting right now? So I'm trying to help out the people who like nerdy stuff and the people who don't love it, like yours truly. Let's close our eyes and just imagine your bowl. If you don't like water, you could imagine it as a bowl of light. Trevor Hall has a song about that too. He has a song about everything. Good. And ever so slightly, bring your attention to your ribs, the top of your ribs, where your top belly muscles thread together, and just ever so slightly pin that back, pull it in, draw it in towards your spine. So we want this to always be stable and active. And then ever so slightly, stick your tailbone back so we find a tiny curve. It will feel like you have a curve in your low back. So these 2 things, if you notice already, are opposite. So it takes a lot of mindfulness to sit like this and not to spill your water or your light. And while you sit here, allow your shoulders to relax down away from your ears. And just take a moment to fully accept the fact that you are doing an awesome job as a mother. You are killing it. You are the best mom for your baby, your teenager, your toddler, your adult child. You are it. So, thanks for being an awesome mom. Now we're going to take care of our backs. Whenever you're ready, bring your hands to your belly. Keep that intention in the upper abdominals, and let's begin to have some really fluid breath in the low belly. Fill up your low belly with air as it pooches out away from your spine, and then exhale, pull your belly button in. Mula Bandha, fancy Sanskrit word for zip up those high-waisted pants, squeeze those lower abdominals as you exhale. Inhale. Soft yoga belly, exhale. Beautiful. 2 more times. Exhale. Just have a sense of gratitude that your baby came from this space. Isn't that cool? Moved your ribs out of the way, got big, came out to the world. Beautiful. Then for the rest of practice, we are going to keep that neutral pelvis. So even though we'll be in certain postures that you feel like that's not possible, I promise we're going to work on it. So from here, let's come onto all fours, hands and knees. Place your hands, spread your fingers, hands underneath the shoulders. So first, let's spill it out the front, right? So here's a big spill out the front, and that's called cow pose. And then exhale, you're going to spill it out the back. This would be cat pose. You just go back and forth. Spill it out the front. One more time, spill it out the back. Good, and now let's find a neutral pelvis. Hug in the ribs, the top of your ribs, core muscles, and then ever so slightly, watch me, I'm just going to take my tailbone back. Yeah. And then I have a tiny hug in the low belly. Do you feel how that feels? It's amazing. I practice this so much in my training for prenatal, postnatal, and it helped me so much to sit well. So this is really big for posture. Awesome. Hold and breathe for 2 more breaths. Super subtle today. It might feel like we're not doing a lot, but if you're really paying attention, it's going to set your low back free. Beautiful. Whenever you're ready, inhale, take that right hand forward, tent the fingers, take the left leg back. Good. Now lift the left leg, maybe lift the right arm. So we're balancing posture. So what we don't want to do is severely hug in the core. Usually we want to, but for today, let's try a neutral pelvis. So you might even ask somebody in your house, hey, does it look like I have a little dip in my low back? Because that's what I want. Flex the back foot. And then pull in those ribs. Pulling in and keeping the arch is really difficult. So breathe and have some grace for yourself here. Beautiful. Stay here. Or maybe try to reach for your back foot. Now here's where it's going to be a big challenge. We want the curve, but we also want to hug in those upper abdominals, upper rib. Good. Breathe. Good. Exhale, release everything down. Send your tailbone back. Hands walk forward. For a little child's pose, forehead comes to the earth. Good. And even while we're here, hug in the ribs at the top of your abdominals. Find a little curve in the low back at the same time. Definitely a challenge. Reconnect with your breath for 1 more breath. And if your mind is already starting to take over and say, we're moving so slow, just accept that, because this strategy is going to help you in the long run in life. Just sitting there on your couch in a chair. I've been using this even driving. So let's come back to that neutral pelvis. If you can't find it, I always recommend spill the water out the front and the back first, and then find the neutral pelvis by plugging in the ribs. I'm going to say this 1,000 times. And then watch me. Kind of taking my tailbone back. So I have that little curve in my low back. We always want to facilitate the natural curves of the spine. From here, with a neutral pelvis, send the right leg back, left hand forward, tent the fingers. A little bend in that right elbow, the stabilizer arm, so we're not hyperextending. I'm double jointed, so it gets a little weird. Inhale, reach the leg up, maybe even the arm. You can just do the leg or just do the arm, whichever feels good for you. But try to keep that hugging into the ribs, kind of flattens my back out. Did you see that? And then keep the booty. Keep that booty moving back. So we want a little curve in the low back. You should feel those muscles in your low back activating. Hold here and breathe. Soft lower belly. On the inhale, exhale, hug it in to keep the curve. Beautiful. Stay here, or maybe grab the back foot. See if you can maintain a neutral pelvis here. Good. So if you maintain a neutral pelvis, this should be a pretty big stretch in your quad. Pull the ribs in. Stick the booty back just a little bit. One more breath. Beautiful. Exhale, take everything down. Awesome. From here, step your hands forward. We're going to come into a downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, send your tailbone towards the sky. Now, maintaining a neutral pelvis here is going to look like a big bend in your knees so that you can facilitate a low back curve, and then hug in the ribs, press through the ground. Good. See if you can feel the neutral pelvis now. We've been practicing this already for a little bit. Exactly, I don't know, almost 10 minutes. So notice if you can already feel that neutral pelvis. Beautiful. And whenever you're ready, walk your feet to your hands. Take your time, super, super slow. And then bend your knees, look forward. Find a neutral pelvis here. Plug in the ribs, stick the tailbone back. This might be something you watch before you practice, because you can see me hug in at first, then it flattens out my low back, and then I'm trying to really spread my booty. I know that sounds crazy, but that's what it is. Good. Send your tailbone more back. Reach the hands to heart center for chair pose, shoulders away from your ears. And then inhale, stand all the way up. Y'all are doing awesome. Good. So now from standing, we're going to do that spilling of the water again. Middle fingers on your hip bones. Soft bend in the knees. Let's spill the water out the front first. So a lot of times, especially when we're teenagers, we walk around like with our butts out because we're like, shawty swing my way. Good, so we don't want this. And then as we get older, like, oh, well, you better suck in your core because you need a flat belly to look good. Society tells us that, so we're like, oh, got it. So we become mother tuckers. And we tuck tailbone. And then we take the curve out of our low backs. Now, if we have a booty, it'll still look like we have a C curve, but we're really, in actuality, flatten it out. So this is the spilling your water backwards. So let's do it one more time. Spill it out the front. Exaggerate it. Really puff your ribs out. No hug. And then too far, right? We don't want this. What we do want is to bring the pelvis neutral. Our bowl right in the center. So I encourage you, even after this practice, to really play with the extremes. This is where I think yoga mirrors life. Sometimes we go to one extreme, way to the other extreme, and then we find that middle ground. So same thing with the neutral pelvis. Spill it out. Extremely too far, right in the middle. Look at your feet. Make sure your feet are pointed straight ahead. Soft bend in your knees. Just allow your mind to take a note, a memory of how this feels. I know you're probably tired of hearing it, but it's going to stick, I hope. So we're going to take this practice to the wall. To the window. To the wall. Okay, so find a wall. You're going to put your hands on the wall. Good. Now, take your tailbone back. So we're kind of in like a box shape here, or an L shape. Hugging your ribs. Do that extremely. So we're really pressing into the wall, hugging in the ribs, hugging in the core. Beautiful. And then keep that, but stick your tailbone back. Spread your booty. Spread that booty. So when I do this, it takes a lot for me to maintain these two things because they're polar opposites. It also gives me a big stretch in my hamstrings. I don't know how you guys are feeling. If you want to walk your feet further away from the wall, you can, or closer. Adjust however you need to. But keep that hug in the upper, a little booty back. Upper ribs, upper core. Beautiful. Stay here for 2 more breaths. You should start to feel a burn because these muscles are fired up. You can even feel them. They're like really working to maintain the C curve. And then your core should really be fired up working to maintain this upper belly hug. Beautiful. Slowly come out of this. So you can practice that as much as you want today. I'm just going to show you so you can practice more later if you'd like. I would suggest doing that and what I'm about to show you, maybe this whole class, at least 1 time a week, so you can bring that muscle memory back to a neutral pelvis. So now you're going to find a wall. I'm not going to go on this one because I have a little situation, but I'm going to find this wall. And we're going to do a wall sit. If anybody played any sports in high school, this was like the jam, right? So walk your feet out under your knees so you have a 9-degree angle. Engage those quads. And then slide down the wall. So you're working your legs. Now what we're going to do is press our back where our bra strap might go, the back of our ribs into the wall. So when we tack the ribs back, we're going to also plug the ribs in at the top here. While you do that, see if you can create a low back curve where you could put your hand in between your low back and the wall. So if someone's looking, they could see a little space. And if you have somebody in your house, you could say, hey, come look, see if you can look through. Very, very advanced right here. This is very difficult to do. In fact, you might be shaking, and that's perfectly fine. I am too. So press in at the bra strap. Make a little curve. Push your tailbone into the wall. I love to have somebody to check me, but there's no one here right now, which is rare. Good. So breathe here. And you can also play with it. Make it extreme. This is not what it should look like, nor should your whole spine be touching the wall, right? So we have a little space. 1 more breath. You can have hands down or hands to heart center. Beautiful. Whenever you're ready, slowly slide yourself up. And let's just shake it out. Bring it back to your mat. So, you guys finding that neutral pelvis yet? If you are, hit the comments after this video. Thanks for being here. Thanks for taking your time with me. Beautiful. From here, we're going to work on our mountain pose. Place your feet. Bend in your knees. Hands by your side. Open heart. And hopefully your muscle memory remembers everything I've been saying this whole video. Plugs in the ribs. Finds a low back C curve. You can even bring your hands to your hips one more time. Neutral pelvis. Maybe close your eyes here. Soft shoulders. Deep belly breaths. And just take a moment of gratitude for just the ability to move your body in this manner. The fact that your body carried a baby. I mean, how cool is that? Inhale, reach your arms up towards the sky. While reaching, see if you can maintain a neutral pelvis. Exhale, forward fold. Maintain a neutral pelvis as you fold. Beautiful. Take both feet back. High plank push-up position. Just for a beat, we're going to practice the neutral pelvis in plank. Hugging the ribs. Tiny, tiny, tiny. C curve in the low back. 1 more breath. Beautiful. Drop your knees back. Awesome. So to end class today with me, we're going to do a seated upright shavasana. We're not going to lay on our backs just because I want us to drive that neutral pelvis home one more time. So if you have a pillow or if you want a pillow, I'm going to grab my pillow. It's a fuzzy pillow. If you have a pillow close, you can sit on it. This will make a neutral pelvis really nice and easy and cozy for you to end class. Kind of like your payoff for all that hard work. Beautiful. So this should make your neutral pelvis so easy. Easily having a C curve in your low back, easily pulling in the top of your ribs. Maybe close your eyes, allow your hands to land wherever they do. Really soft shoulders. Allow an opening in your heart and your chest. Just notice how your low back feels after that short practice. Really geeky practice. Bring your attention back to your breath. And to close class, we are just going to take 10 beautiful, slow, easy breaths together. And if you're still feeling that neutral pelvis, congratulations. I think your muscle memory is kicking in. But if you slowly started to slouch, let's bring it back to that neutral pelvis, still bowl of water. And slowly bring the hands to heart center. Thank you so much for being here. I know you have so much on your plate, but congratulations for taking time for yourself. Because when you lift yourself, your mood, your health, your family's going to see that, your friends are going to see that, the whole world will change because of you taking this short amount of time for yourself. You're killing it, Mama. Namaste for today. Thanks for being here.